Hey everyone, Jamie Pate here. Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for being here. I have an idea that I want to share with you. It's sort of kind of a two-in-one. It sort of kind of takes an idea from here and an idea from here and puts it all together. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you may or may not have seen this little tag booklet that is floating around out there. And it's actually made from Heidi Swapp's new Freedom paper pack. And it was a way for me to just kind of play with the new papers, see what they all look like. And I had a good time doing this, but then it turned into something else, which I will show you here at the end with this exact item here, with this piece here. But we're going to remake this with some different paper. So you can see it's a tag book. We have the classic little tag idea right here, the little cutoffs, right? And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different patterns looking at us. What's so great about this though is that there are only 3 papers. Now you could do this with one piece of 12 by 12 paper for sure, because these are 4 inches tall, and actually, yes, they're 4 inches tall, and you only need 3 paper. You only need 3 tags. But it's fun, super fun this is a great idea for design and for your patterns to just play with them and have fun. So that's what we're going to do today. What you're going to notice with these is that it all opens up and you're seeing the other side. So that's pretty cool, right? And right here, I don't have this connected, and I'll show you how we'll do that in a moment. Right here is the very middle of our book, our little mini. It's a good size mini though, because we have quite a few pages. I'll count those in a minute. But then we still have a couple more pages here at the end. And then this one comes back to the 4x4. So basically you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 5 double-sided pages or 10 pages in which to work in. So that's a really cool idea. So as I grab some ribbon here and do a really super, it doesn't get any simpler than this in terms of binding this tag book. And we'll call it a tag book because it's reminiscent of tags. But I'm going to show you here half a second how this becomes another idea, which I think is a really important way to get a lot of story on a page. All right, I'm just messing with my ribbon here. And then I think just to add some pop, I like to add in another color. Whoops, let's cut that a little better. There we go. So I'm going to add in here this baker's twine and add a bow as well. And then we'll get to the heart of making this. So the other thing I want to share with you about this is the opportunity for this mini album to become what we call a photo stack. So this is kind of the classic way of looking at it, right? Everything opens up, but then you turn it like this and you set it on a scrapbook page, and then you have a photo stack. Again, with all this real estate for photo and the story. And so we're going to wrap up today's video with this idea. So keep that in mind. But that's kind of your 2-in-1. In the meantime, we are going to start off our project by finding, I'm going to use 3 different patterns of paper. And I think these are all going to work together. Crossing my fingers, but I think they will. And this is my beloved Peaceful Magnificence from Crafty Garden from 49 Market, and I'm going to cut it. May we have a moment of silence, please. Now, it's always kind of crazy to sort of cut into a piece of paper, isn't it? And here I'm doing it live and on television. I'm going to set this side. So I cut that 4 inches wide. I think I have 4 inches here. Yes, I do. So I need to cut off my little merchant, part here. Let me get that straight. There we go. Whoops, I need to cut off just a wee bit more. Just trying to get it super close, and I didn't get it close enough. Okay, James, come on. You can do this. Okay, I just need to cut off a little bit more of that because I cut too far into there. Or I didn't cut in far enough. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this over And we're going to cut this at 4 inches here. Da, 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 da. There we go. Now, the only thing that's a little tricky with this is that this other side here are these little, like, kind of what I call pocket cards. So I'm just going to kind of ignore that, but ideally, you might not want to pattern paper with the pocket cards, but we'll see how it looks on the other side. I still needed to clean this up a little bit, so if you're wondering what I'm doing, that is what I am doing. Just cleaning this up a little bit here, and then we will continue on. Okay, I think that's going to be better. And it is. Okay. So then I need one more 4x4. And I'm deciding with this one, I think I'm just going to go ahead and cut it the traditional way and just right off the top at 4 inches. Okay, so at this point now, we should have, if you are playing along at home, you should have 3 strips of 12 by 12 paper that is 4 inches tall. Okay, now at this point you got to kind of decide, well, what's the order I want this to go in? And I'm going to choose this order. So in choosing this order, I'm going to call this paper 1, and then this paper 2, and this paper 3. Now, it has other patterns on the other side that we're going to see. Oh, isn't that just beautiful? Oh my God, it's just so dreamy. Okay, focus, Jamie, focus. But that's okay. It's going to work out. I think it's going to work out. That's kind of the fun of it, is putting these patterns together and see what comes of them. Okay, so for paper number 1, we actually need this to be 8 1/4 inches long. So I flipped it over because I want this to be my front, although this would be a pretty front also, wouldn't it? Oh, okay. This is going to be my front. And I'm going to move my little mint piece of paper there so I know that this is number 1. This is my front, but I need to cut it off to 8 1/4 inches wide. So I flipped it over, and I'm going to go ahead and trim that out. Save all your scraps for another project. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and score it. So paper number 1 needs to be scored at 4 inches. And on this particular board, 4 inches is right here. So I'm going to go ahead and score that and just set it aside for now. Okay, paper number 2. Just checking all that. I don't hate that if that shows at all. I think that's going to be really pretty, and it will show. Paper number 2 needs to be 10 inches long. So I'm taking my front edge here to my 10 and going to trim off the excess. And then it needs to be scored at 4 1/4. We could go 4 1/2 if you want a little bit more. I have a little bit more pattern showing here, so don't be surprised when we get to it that a little bit less pattern shows. And as I say that, I think I'm going to move over to my scoreboard. I have a 1/4 inch, I have a 1/2 inch, but I have a mark in between. That's where I am going to go ahead and score this. So I'm going to line this up and see where that leaves me. So that leaves me with that much showing. So this is the part of the show where you get to decide how much you really want to show. And this is a great way to see that, okay? Paper number 3. Paper number 3 is going to be trimmed out at 9 3/4. And then it too is going to need a score. And the score is to be 4 1/2. And I'm going to scooch over 1 more 1/8. You can do 4 1/2. I'm throwing y'all, and I'm going to just scooch it over 1 more. Okay, next. Something I like to do is keep a template of this tag around. This happens to be Heidi Swapp's jumbo tag. And just verifying my fronts. I like to come in here and I'm going to line these all up though. I know I need them all to have their little parts, their little corners cut out. I'm just not great at cutting an even corner on both sides. So I will use this trick pretty much every time. I am really cut challenged. I don't know how else to explain that. Okay, so let's cut this one. Now, the other thing we're going to need to do, set aside number 1. We're going to need to do the same thing on the other ends of our other 2 papers. So we're just cutting out the corners. So it's like a double-sided tag. Oops, we got a little bit of... But when it's in the book, you don't see it like that. Okay, so at this point, we have our double-sided tags and all our papers. So I'm just going to go ahead at this point and go ahead and, whoops, fold those and give a good deep crease to each one of them. And we're going to find out if we like this or not, aren't we? But it will give you an idea to how to pay attention to your patterns. So we take our little cheat tape off and then tuck this inside of this first one, just like that. Okay, same thing here. Tucking this inside of here, just like that. So I have a little bit of a mishap here where this is just too long, and I'm not sure how that happened, but these things happen. So the easiest fix is just to kind of eyeball that. I'm just going to give a real easy mark there with my pencil, and just going to pull that one out and trim it, and I'll need to re-trim my corners as well. I think we'll find out here. Yeah, a little bit. So keep that template handy, and make your lengths of your tags whatever size makes you happy. So I probably should have just stuck to my original measurements and not made a difference here. I kind of winged it. And then this is what the inside looks like. That's not, except for this little thing part here. And you could always come in with this and add that there, trim it up, and just kind of cover that right there. That Hello Friend's really cute, actually. And then this would be the other side where you need to decide, do I really want this to be part of your paper? And because even here we cut off our butterfly, which I don't hate, but you could just, if you wanted to just cover this with another piece of paper, you could do that. And then that's our ending, which I think that pattern combination there is beautiful. So that's how I came up with that little tag quick album. I mean, and you could punch a hole here in the, 2 holes there in the middle, and you could bind it differently if you would like. I thought it was just fun to do this. I think I was just kind of sticking with what's like really, really quick, fast, in a hurry here. And to just add twine or ribbon or baker's twine to close up your binding. I don't know. I just loved the ease of it for sure. So it's also ready for inside of your page as well, on a scrapbook page, to have this as a flip up book as well. And again, realizing you maybe don't want the 3x4 in there, but now you know why. Jamie did it weird. That's why. Okay, I'm actually in the midst of working on some stories from last year, and it always seems to take me a whole year later to write certain stories, and I'm okay. That's fine. So this book is a work in progress, even as we speak. And so as I was working on this, and this is where I came up with, what a great photo stack this would be. So I'm going to add this here into my book. Adding your photos now to this are just as simple as printing out 3 by, now I'm not sure what I printed out. Yes, these are 3x3, and then I used my little border trick like I taught in my photo class to then have a border around this. I am a believer in when you have paper that is kind of busy like this, a border around your photos really helps to offset it and to give it a nice pop. So that's where my thinking is on that. And so this is how easy it is to, so I'm going to be ending up adding, I think 8 photos in total to this photo stack. So tag book, photo stack, whatever you want to call it. Okay, I'm tripping out that my son is that short last year because he comes like up to here now on his sister. Just had to throw that in there because every time I see this picture now, I'm like, oh, good grief, how much you have grown in a year's time. That they do that, don't they? Oh, my word. All right. And so that was 4 photos. I have a little bit longer photo here. I think it's going to fit in there okay, though. I just realized my ribbon's a little crooked, too. I got to fix that also. Oh, all the things, huh? So we're adding, this one is not 3x3. It's probably about 3x4. It was a photo that needed to stay longer. So you have these longer pages inside this book. Perfect for if you have a longer photo. All right, and this one's going to pop up here. Now, any one of these pages obviously can hold story. So don't forget that. You need to write your journaling. And then my last set, and here I'm talking to you about borders on photos, and then my last photo does not have one. It was a pretty large, I'm going to want to add something here, so I'm putting this one up a little higher. Okay. It's a pretty large photo. And what I'm going to need to do is probably trim it a little bit. So I trimmed off a tad of the top. Yeah, I think I like that better. Oops. And I've run out of runner. All right. I had a little tape runner fail there. And snuggle this up to the top. And it's going to show a little bit, and I'm going to be okay with that. And so I would also want to advise on this to use some double-sided adhesive to adhere it to your book so that it doesn't fly out at any time. And that's how we take advantage of this 2-for-1 kind of mini album. Super easy to make. Obviously, you saw my mistakes there in my measurements. I just should have stuck with what I had decided in the first place. I will have measurements in the description so that you too can make it the right way the first time. And I will add some further embellishments here, but that's my spread. That's my layout. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this was a helpful idea for you. I hope you make these as well and see how easy they really actually are. Enjoy playing with those patterns. I'll see you in the next video.